If you know how to look for them, there are so many good games on Roblox. Some games push the boundaries of what you might think is possible on this platform, some games are really artistic and aesthetically appealing, and some are simply passion projects from a dedicated individual. Even though some of the games on this list could be described in those ways, that's not the focus of this video. Have you ever had to do a bunch of reading before starting a game? Or maybe the game itself isn't complex, but you notice that a majority of the content isn't unlocked until you spend hours or even days grinding for it. Now, there's nothing wrong with that if the game is well designed, but I wanted to make a list of games that can be enjoyed in their entirety within one session. Here are the qualifications that I came up with. 1. This game has no long-term grind. 2. This game isn't too complicated. And 3. This game's monetization practices aren't too intrusive. I also excluded games that might have been too obvious or too popular, besides one, just to show a good example. Anyways, now that you know what to expect, here we go. Alright, let's get this out of the way. I'm sure you all know what Centaura is, and I don't have to explain it to you. Many actual YouTubers have covered it, but the reason why I included it was because it's why I'm making this video. Compared to most popular Roblox games, there's no grind, and you can enjoy the entire game for free. Again, there's nothing wrong with developers monetizing their games. Obviously, I think they deserve to be paid for their work, but I'm just stating the facts. Anyways, if you've played any shooter before, you already know what to do. Pick a class, watch people get blown up, shoot people, get blown up, respawn. You can use the shop to add additional tools and weapons to your kit, and all purchases last for the rest of the battle. This central gameplay loop is very similar to a bunch of classic Roblox games, which is why I like it so much. This game has a ton of detail put into the atmosphere in it. I feel like you can enjoy it even if you're just dying over and over, which can't be said for most shooter games. There's a whole bunch of lore and world-building elements too, but the main idea is that the setting is an alternate Earth with different continents. This resulted in a somewhat parallel history to our own. In the Discord server, there's a ton of art and lore, stories. Centaura recently had an update that added a new faction as well as a new map with tanks. It's honestly awesome. Go try it if you haven't played it yet. It's like a huge open field, and there's just it's just cool. The only criticism I have for this game is that if you wanted to play a specific map, you're gonna have to wait a while. I don't think they should add map voting because that kind of goes against the theme they're going for, but a server browser would be nice so you could join the rotation when the map you're looking for is active. Again, they don't have to do this, but I think as they add more maps, because they plan to add a lot more, and they especially plan to go further in the future in terms of the time period and the technology available to you. So someone might be only interested in the new stuff, which you don't have to accommodate for them, but who cares, whatever. At Odds End is very much modeled after classic Roblox games, which is going to be a continuing theme on this list. It's real simple. You get some gold, buy some weapons, get a ship, and do pirate things. It's both PvP and PvE. You raid islands to acquire gold and rare weapons, and the islands have varying difficulties, but while you're doing this, there's a chance that you'll run into the other team. You don't have to be enemies, but if you kill them, you can steal their gold. When you get back to your home base, you can save your earnings in the bank for safekeeping, then go back out again. The atmosphere of this game is really nostalgic, and I don't just mean the way it looks. From my experience at least, back in the day, truces were a lot more common in PvP games. This is probably due to the way these games were designed. Since you were playing for fun and not grinding, sometimes you'd make friends with the enemy and just hang out if they were chill. When I was playing, there were a few instances of this happening and it just made the experience more fun. The game itself has more polish than old Roblox games. For example, when you enter certain areas, the background music changes, the vehicles aren't buggy, and the melee combat and the bots are a little more advanced. There's like blocking, it's not just slashing. Also, you can save your gold in the bank for the next time you play. I don't know what content is planned for this game, but I have 2 suggestions. In old Roblox, most games like this allowed you to switch teams by touching a different spawn point. It's not necessary to add, but I think it'd be cool if there was a 3rd team you could find and join by exploring the map. Second, I think it'd be cool if players drop their tools when they die. They get lost anyway, so... Oh, I forgot to mention, but like, just the builds are really cool. Like, the red team and the blue team, even though the islands where you spawn are functionally the same, they're like themed after the different... It's just cool. Go ahead and play it because, like all the games on this list, it doesn't require much of your time. Syrian Shenanigans. This one is exactly how it sounds. Shoot people, participate in the Syrian space program, or drive an IED. It's just a combined arms warfare FPS. When I first played this game a while ago, I thought it was a collection of free models put together in Roblox Studio, but over time it's become a bit more than that. They added 2 new maps and they polished the game a bit with some updates. It still has the feel of like a free model game from 2015, but I think it's pretty solid. Operating a tank with friends over VC is really fun because it's like really clunky and each person gets their own role. She likes the game too, my cat. When I play solo, I tend to just fill up my backpack with recoilless rifle ammo and use the SPG-9s located around the map to hold down choke points. There's one on the Euphrates map? Euphrates. Where there's like an SPG-9 looking directly at the main bridge and you could just blow up any vehicle that tries to pass it. So just like, yeah, stuff like that. There's a bunch of different strategies you can try. There's also some like slightly hidden mechanics, like the weapons are ranged in. So based off the range that you see, that's your bullet drop basically, and you can't change the range. Some weapons just have a range built in. So the AK-74 and the greener LMG, I think that's a M240, they have their range set out a long distance, so you can actually snipe with it. The iron sights are actually accurate at a long distance. By the way, when you're ADSing, press T for a little bit of zoom. Project Remix is definitely an outlier on this list. It's a first-person fighting game with a variety of cool weapons and abilities. You pick 5 things to make a class: a weapon, an ultimate attack, a perk, and 2 abilities. Then you spawn in and fight. In the future, I think the actual structure of the game is going to change and you'll have to unlock stuff, but for now you can use whatever you want. There's multiple game modes like TDM, free-for-all, gun game, and push the cart. The maps are based around old Roblox settings like Crossroads, Welcome to Roblox Building, and Swordfight on the Heights, and the weapons are also based on classic Roblox tools, but they all have unique stats. If making strategies and customizing loadouts interests you, then you're gonna love this game. All the weapons have like different passive abilities and secondary attacks and stuff. It's not that complicated though. Like, you just try a weapon, if you don't like it, try the next one, because as I said, currently everything is available to the player. Project Remix has a lot of effort put into its aesthetic too. It's like pretty stylized and unique. I like that the game has a cutscene in between rounds as if it were a live broadcast. It feels a little long just because you can't do anything during the cutscene. I don't know if they're going to change that. That's like the only criticism I have. It's just a really good game, and from the time I started recording this video to now, it's like pentupled, quintupled, whatever in player count. So by the time this video comes out, it might even be like more popular than that. Trench War is by far the most simple game on this list. It is as simple as it gets. 2 teams, you spawn with a random primary and a pistol, shoot the enemy, take their trenches, and eventually you win or lose. It's like Centaura if it was from 2011, and that's why I like it. When I first joined Roblox, this is almost exactly what combat games were. Jeep Wars was this, but in the desert, and you drove a Jeep to the enemy base and blew it up. Jet Wars was this, but sci-fi, and you flew jets through space to the enemy base so you could blow it up. Base Wars, which is still around, was the same, but with jets, ground vehicles, and ships. Of course, Trench Wars has none of those things, but there were a lot of forgettable games just like it back then. You know, jumping around and spamming and weapon swapping in third person. It's just fun. If I had to suggest one thing for this game, and it's not necessary, it would be some kind of melee using the classic linked sword script, like a club or a spade or something. I really want more games like this. I wish I could make my own. I would totally remake Jeep Wars, because Jeep Wars was awesome. No one's gonna know what Jeep Wars is. Do you know, Sky? She knows Jeep Wars. Tell me your secrets. Yep, that's it. Everything has already been said. There's no need for an outro. Like and subscribe, comment games. Big Chungus.